Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine. The time to say yes to your dreams and aspirations is here.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our Instagram Live session. My guest tonight is Day, popularly known as Toni Kan. TK, like I am addressing him, was born on June 11, 1971, which means TK is going to be 50 years old tomorrow. A native of Azuh State. He had his secondary education at the popular Patrick College, Asaba, while his tertiary education was at the University of Jos, where he read the English literature. His master's, also in English literature, was at the University of Lagos. An important writer in this generation. Toni Kan is equally an award-winning editor and a PR man who knows his way around people and brands. Prior to setting up Radiates, Continental Trust Bank, Bank V, Can Visa Fold, building in his time. Among his popular works are the carnivorous city, Knights of the Kingdom, Ballad of Rage, and When a Dream Lingers Too Long. Friends, fans, and followers, join me as I welcome my friend, my brother, the mayor of Lagos, Anthony Kan, popularly known as Toni Kan, to tonight's Instagram Live session. TK, so nice to see you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow. The new beard, is it because you're going to be 50 tomorrow?
It's a COVID beard. It's a COVID beard.
COVID inspired. All right. So nice to have you join us. Thank you. Now, TK.
Yeah.
You are very, very hitting the golden age of 50. As a matter of fact, you'll be 50 tomorrow. How does this make you feel?
I mean, I've done my 60 push-ups today, so that hasn't changed. Done my normal exercises. I didn't run today because of this rain and then traffic. I got caught in traffic and I had to do this, But I mean, I don't feel anything, I told my daughter, I said, I'm getting old. She said that you're not old, so I guess I'll just follow her advice and stay young. I'm not old yet. I'm not old at all.
Okay. So what plans do you have? How do you plan to celebrate your 50th birthday?
So I mean, in the spirit of the times, this is COVID. When I turned 40, I had a very big party.
On the island, remember?
Yeah, it was quite big. But so now I'm 50. I'm a bit more sensible, and my and my school fees school fees I paid they've gone up, so but I mean the spirit of the time is not even conducive for having a party. I know I told PJ that I didn't want to have a party. I told a few of my friends, and they've all been, say, you might have a party. But I mean, I give myself a present. There's something I've liked since I was 8 years old. I went out and I bought it for myself. So that's my birthday present. And I've
Would you like to share that with us?
No, I will not. I will not. I will not. Because of tax purposes. So for now, I mean, I'm just going to go out. I mean, in the morning, say my prayers, go out quietly and have a quiet time. So they come back and, there'll be drinks. People can come over to the house and have drinks, but that's it. I'm not planning anything special or big. There's COVID. Things are not so right in the country. We should be a bit sober, But we should also be thankful to God that we are marking a milestone birthday,
Yes. Someone says I should ask you whether the thing you've been planning that you eventually got, whether it's a car or a house.
It's two of them. It's two of them.
All the above. So
Thank
what
you.
would change about 50?
What would change?
Yes, about ticket at 50.
I don't really know. So every year before my birthday, I do my medical. And they always say, "Oh, cut down on alcohol, cut down on this, cut down on that." Then we do that. The next year, tell you something again. I mean, it's like spending so much money to find out whether you're sick or not. It doesn't make sense. So I don't live the kind of life that requires some critical adjustments. I know that I'm no longer as young as I used to be, but I'm trying to keep fit. Stay healthy. Yeah, that's it. Maybe not go out as much as I used to. I feel like it's not even important. All these parties we go to in Lagos, buying new clothes every day and stuff. You should use that money for school fees or something. So I think that one thing I'm going to do from going forward is I'm going to try and cut down on serious parties, and if we do personal visits instead of parties, there's no need for that. It's just a show off. We've done that since, so we've gone past that level.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is the greatest lesson that life has taught you at 50?
Oh, it is that everything ends. Everything ends. Everything ends. I mean, I was telling somebody, I said, see, we're talking about Nigeria, how insecure we are. But we were here under Abacha. It was almost as if the world was ending. I was here in Lagos June 12th. We were as if the world was ending. So this one we're in, it go end. We will see them end. Just pray that we will when it's over. It go end. Everything ends.
Interesting. All right. What are your regrets at 50?
My mom not being here, to see me turn 50. I think that's the biggest thing. My mom not being here, So that would be my. I usually don't have regrets because I live my life the way I want it to be. I take my chances, I take my decisions. I mean, they are always thought through before I do them. So only thing I regret is my mom not being here, to see me turn. My brother died before he was 50. My mother died before I turned 50. So that's, I wish she had been here before one of us turned 50. Yeah.
Wow. All right. What would you describe as your greatest accomplishment at 50?
Man, being alive in this country, man. Being alive. Being alive. Jesus. Being alive in Nigeria. Nigeria can kill you, that I'm alive to see 50, almost 50. I mean, I've been in a riot, University of Jos, when my roommate was shot. I've been in accidents. I've been in a plane that caught fire. you know, bro. Yeah, so this country has tried to kill me, you know, but you just didn't succeed. So being alive, yeah, it's a big achievement for me in this country. But I mean, that said, I think that my biggest joy when I think about my life, you know, is the fact that I've stayed relevant in my industry, in industries where I play, you know, as a journalist, as a writer, as a PR person. I mean, I've never striven to change the world, you know. I've always tried to make a mark, and everywhere I've been, I think I've made a mark, you know, and that's what I'm most thankful to God for. You know, my daughter called me and says, my teacher says he knows you, you know, I mean, people say, you know, that kind of, so that's what I want. I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want to be, you know, Tanzania, but let me just enjoy my life and be relevant anywhere God puts me. I want to make a mark, and I think that I've been able to, you know, stay relevant over this period I've been in the game, and I thank God for that.
All right. Now, talking about making a mark and remaining relevant, one of the areas, where you started from should be writing. So, I need to find out from you what exactly got you interested in writing.
Oh, so my writing story, I mean, I tell you all the time. As a young boy, I mean, now everybody sees me now with big chest and four pack and you know, and muscle. I mean, when I was young, I wasn't. I was kind of skinny and not very active. And also because I used to stutter, so I wasn't very sociable.
But you still do. You still do.
Yeah, I do. I mean, when I'm excited, yeah, when I'm excited. When I'm talking money, I don't get that. So I mean, because I was that kind of child who was always at home, I just took interest in my father's books. My father had a very big library, you know. So I took interest in the books, and I started reading the books. And you know, the first test for a writer is to read. And when you read, you now decide whether I want to write. So I started reading, and I started reading quite a lot, quite early, and quite a lot. So when I now, as I got older, you know, I was the boy that everybody gave books instead of, you know, t-shirt or football or toys. You know, my birthdays were always books. You know, so but I didn't think anything about writing until I was 11, and I read 3 books. You know, one of them was Ben Okri's book, his first novel, Clouds and Shadows. When I read that book, I just said, you know, after I read, I was sitting in front of our house and I was just crying. I was crying as if my mother just died, you know. I was crying. I said, one day I will write something and somebody will cry, you know. So maybe that was why, you know, I just started writing all those stories that people were like crazy over, like, you know, I wanted people to read and feel the emotions I could convey, you know, through words. So that was when I really knew that the thought came to me that I could be a writer. I was 11 years old. I remember very clearly, 1982.
All right. Now, what was the title of the first story ever that you wrote?
Kai, I can't remember. Because I remember that the first poem I read in public, not mine, I remember reading was this poem about because of a horseshoe, the horse was lost. Because of the horse, the battle was lost. Because of the battle, well, that's how it's an old English poem. I remember reading it when I was reciting it when I was 1980, 1980 or 81, you know, in school. And they gave me a prize, and like, you know, I mean, I went to village schools where people could not read until they were in Form 2. So when you're in primary 3 and 4, you can read. It's a big deal. You can write. It was a big deal. So, so I read that. But by the time I was 11 and I went to St. Patrick's Asaba, I knew that. I remember one holiday, I came back home with a notebook filled with stories. And I told my dad I wanted him to go and publish it for me, that I wanted it out before I came back for the next holiday. I didn't know what publishing was, you know. So, but that was the first time, but I can't remember. But I remember the first poem that I read University of Jos because Rap Bruce will never forget. It starts with the opening line is what dark deeds deviants do in darkness. That's how it starts. I remember that clearly because Rap remembers it and says all the time. So it's what dark deeds deviants do in darkness. That's how it starts. But I can't remember the rest of the poem. So yeah,
All right.
I can't remember everything, but that poem I remember.
All right. Now, to write well, what must one do?
You have to read well. You have to read a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be a writer if you don't read. And most people will say, "Well, I want to write," and then go and read. You know, the silver bullet to writing well is reading well and reading a lot and reading widely. You know, don't confine yourself to only Sidney Sheldon or to only Ben Okri or to only Toni Kan or read everything because you never know what will come in handy. You know, when I was a kid, if I go to buy akara, I'll read the paper that woman is using to sell akara. I read everything. You know, I read everything. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, to have a taste of success as a writer, what must one do?
See, writing is writing and reading. Yeah. I mean, if you look in the world, I mean, in the creative industry, I think writers commit suicide the most. Writers are the most depressed. And I thought about it for a long time. I think it's because writing and reading are the loneliest things you can do. You cannot say, Azuh, come, let's sit down together and write a book together. I will write my piece and give you. You add your piece. But the band can sit down, just come, let's sit down, let's do this bit together. You give your, everything else is collaborative. Acting is collaborative, right? But when it comes to writing, you must do it on your own. And I remember somebody who says, Azuh, I hold this book, let me hold this back, let's read it together, No, you must also read it by yourself. So it's something that I've come to see that, it's not the most sociable of things. Right? That's why somebody is in the house, they are bros, half an hour, I didn't go out. Anyway, you bought a new book, you want to finish that book, he's not going to see you, he wants to finish that book. So it's a lonely thing to do, to produce, and also a lonely thing to consume. I'm not sure that's the question, is that what you asked me, but I wanted to bring that out. So let me
My question, I said, to have a taste of success in writing, what must one do?
So, and because of the fact that it's a very lonely vocation, if you will, you can't also predict what will be successful, right? So if I do a beat in a studio, say, man, this your beat is banging, you can tell that that it's a banging beat, right? If you do a movie, you can say, oh, this movie reminds you can tell. But with writing and reading, it's always that personal experience, that makes it hard to say this will be a guaranteed success. So I don't know what is the silver bullet for success as a writer. Personally, I mean, I was lucky that I met Karajala and the Roman Abati, and through my friend Bruce, and they gave me that platform. And I took the platform and wrote it well. And from there I didn't stop. I moved on to academics, to literary criticism, then moved back to novels and stuff. So I've moved around, but what will guarantee success? I don't know. The plan is that you have to read well and then learn to write well, and then pray to God that somebody likes it enough to talk about it to somebody else, who talk to another person. But literary success is is a lottery. Like you buy a ticket out of 1 million and somebody wins, it's a lottery. It's a lottery. It's hard.
Interesting. So what is the commonest mistake that most writers make?
In Igbo, what we call Igbo, Igbo, So it's something that happens. I mean, my son just finished his exam. I was telling him, he was telling me and my friend that you did exam. So my mom was like, well, how was your English? He said, I didn't do, I did English I did English 2 or whatever. I thought it's like, because I did English 1. And he said, well, because English is my first language. I'm like, oh boy, you're Igbo boy now. How can you say English is the first language? He didn't know that. That they asked me. So, you know, I mean, these kids start speaking English from day one. So their English is different from ours. We spoke Igbo first, then we not translate it to English in our head. So sometimes something is lost in translation, you know, and I think that's the biggest issue with right now as an African. You know, you have to overcome that first. But then, I mean, there's a course I taught for Union Bank, and I called it the 7 Deadly Sins of Nigerian Writing. It's on YouTube somewhere. And I try to list out these things, you know, that we do. Overwriting, you know, purple patches, trying to change, to impress, to be the next Amanda, you know, to find your own voice, be yourself, right? Learn to write in English, not in Igbo, you know? And then, and then, don't overwrite. Don't be Shoyinka, you know. Shoyinka has his style. He has his style. He will never change. Find your own style and stick with it. So I think these are I mean, 2 biggest things. Did that transliteration from our native languages to English? Did that need to impress that I can speak English, you know, and then trying to imitate people, and then trying to mix up genres, you know. We don't know whether they're writing fiction or non-fiction, or whether they're writing, romance or not romance, whether they're writing a thriller or not. That's the kind of issue, yeah.
All right. What are the necessary ingredients needed to cook a good story?
So there's also a course I taught for, I think and it's called a story writing plot. Yeah. So you have a story, then you have your plot, then you have your writing. Okay. And people, I mean, when they say, "Oh, the plot is banging," you never know what the plot is. Right? You understand what is the plot? What is the story? You know? So that is where you start. I mean, for some of us, at least I studied English in school, so I have that, basic background. But most people who write, it's just because they have a talent, they turn talent into a skill. But I actually taught a course recently. It was called "Turn Your Talent into a Skill to Create Value." So how do you take what God has given you, make it into something somebody wants to buy, and pay you for it? You understand? So I think that people should understand that when it comes to writing, there is a way it works, right? First of all, everything you write at first, if they take you to court, you go to jail because you have copied Azuh Arinze, you've copied McEfion, you've copied Toni Kan, you've copied your man, you're copying people that you like. It's an unconscious thing, I like Azuh's write, let me write like him. But after a while, you find your own voice. So if you're waiting for 10 years and you still copy Azuh Arinze, then you should go to jail because you're now a thief. You don't get invitation. It's now stealing, So that is one. You have to find your own voice. It's critical to have your own voice. Once you find your own voice, then people will know that, this person sounds like Azuh, person sounds like Shoyinka. That's what it means, because there's a very Shoyinka voice, there's a Manda voice. You say, how it person sounds like Toni Kan, because he has found his own voice and has influences from those people. So that's how I think it is that people should, first of all, find your voice, learn how to write in English, because unfortunately we publish in English, then learn how to tell a good story. And a good story is hard and it's also simple. We all go to drink beer, we're drinking beer and say, "Oh boy, today, if you see me from my side, one guy come out, he just one entire side inside the street, he missed the gutter, he missed the plank, that gutter, he come fall inside, come out, be like, "What you?" That's a nice story, right? But we say it in a beer parlor, but give somebody a pen and piece of paper, you can't put it down. It's not a problem. So we all tell stories, but we all don't know how to write. And then when you not writing, they not plotting it. So the guy came out of his car, missed his step, fell in the gutter, came out looking like a juju. The small girl is laughing. He goes over to her, he slaps her. She falls down and dies. You see the story as that going legs now. From a funny story, you gone to tragedy. So you can see the plot building now. So they say that the story is the king is dead. That is the story, right? And so the king died this morning and the queen died in the night from grief. That is now a plot growing. You see? So the king died in the morning. The nobles refused the queen to take charge, and in the night she died from grief. See, it's growing. So that man came up from his car, fell in the gutter, came out looking like a juju. The small girl laughed. He got angry and slapped her. The girl died. A crowd gathered and burnt him. You get the story, right? So after they burnt him, he said, "This guy is a minister." Say minister. So okay, I mean that you don't kill minister. DSS arrives. So you can see the story turn into a novel. Just from the guy missing his step and falling in the gutter. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it works.
Interesting. Now, what excites you the most about being a writer?
It's the fact that you can sit in your house and create something and people are talking about it. Like one day I was somewhere talking about I don't read this book. This guy is right. I was like I was able to ask him to say I don't write the book. I'm just saying that there enjoying. I was traveling last month to Abuja. I went to the airport. I saw a bookshop. I just looked my book in bookshops. So I was looking at like, do they have our new book, the one on Yoruba gods? And I was looking. Then the woman said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Oh, that I'm looking for my book." I said, "Which one?" I said, "The who is in Yoruba." He said, "They don't have it." I said, "What's your name?" I said, "Toni Kan." He said, "I thought you'd be smaller than this." I was like, why that is smaller than this? Why that is smaller than this? He said, how did you buy against? They say I'm too big. Like, I was like, you want me to be small? And then I've been in places where, because I said my name is Toni Kan, they will just, each person knows you, they can make things work for you quickly. But the fact is that people read what you created, and then invest their money in it, invest their time to talk about it. I tell people, I say, see, I'm never angry with a book review. Whether you insult me, whether they insult me, I don't care, because there are 100 books coming out in 3 months or 6 months, and you choose my own to insult. So, but you try. You try.
I like that. I like that. So, what do you dislike about being a writer?
Right now, because my kids can't read my book, they are all young. Okay, I really can read now. She's now 18. I don't really write for children. So I mean, I write books, but they don't know what is inside the book. So that has been a problem. And I've been trying to write a children's book for them. So maybe I will do that. But they're all growing now, so they can read it. But not. I love being a writer. I love being a writer. Okay.
All right. What is the greatest thing that being a writer has done for you?
It's plenty.
Let's tell us the greatest one.
I'll tell you a story which I've told so many times. We're going to Ilesha years ago. And that I'm when we're living in Akute now. In those days when we were still driving rickety cars. So we're traveling. I will go to somewhere after near Ilesha, and my car broke down. I met my friend. We pushed it to this. We're near a town. Pushed to this compound. It had a nice roof, so we thought this was somebody who was enlightened. So we pushed it there, and when we got there was a man sitting there with a girl, and I just said, "Sir, car broke down. Can we leave it here? We're going to Leisure for a party, so there was beer in Leisure. We're going to leave the car." So I said, "Sir, can we leave it here?" And he said, "No, you can't park my car here. Yeah, I mean, you can't park your car here, So I was like, but where are you from? I said, "From Lagos. My name is Toni Kan." The guy just screamed. "That is my friend." Is that your friend? "That is my friend. He's my friend. Toni Kan." She's not hugging me. But like, 2 minutes ago, you didn't know who he was. Suddenly he's your friend. You know, let us explain to the man everything. And the man, you know, but I mean, give us drink. You know, we had something. He now gave us the letter himself. Came back the next day to pick the car up. You know, so that's something that you can't buy with money. No matter how much money you have, those kind of things that you see. And it happens to me all the time in hospitals, you know, in banks, offices, you know. They just give you free access, like you see me, that guy I used to read you, right? You know, just come in. So yeah, it's been good having that name that's come from writing. You know, it hasn't been a bad deal at all.
All right. There's one of your friends here, or fans or followers, who has a question. He or she says I should find out from you how to cope with writer's block. The best way to wriggle out of that before I come to my own question.
So you see, when I sit down to write, the first thing I want to do is get up. Right?
Okay.
Right. I mean, so it's not, I mean, writer's block is the thing. It's not going to end. That's why it has a name, you know. I think that if you experience writer's block, the best thing to do is to decide when to write. Is it in the morning or is it in the evening? You know, is it in the afternoon? When you know that your mind is fresh and you can be productive, take that point in time. But if I experience writer's block, what I do is I start making notes. Right? I start making notes. So that I'm not going to see, if I say I'm going to give myself 2 hours to write, those 2 hours have to be completed. So if I hit writer's block, I'll start making notes. But you know, I mean, this is something that I always tell people when I do my training. Writer's block is a luxury you can afford when nobody's paying you. I mean, the editor, for instance, when you were at fame, you would tell KB that you have writer's block. Who born you? You've been paid, right? You have to write this thing, you know. So it's a luxury you have when you're doing it for yourself. If I've been paid to produce a PR piece for a client, writer's block for where? He has to go now. So it's a luxury that writers who write for themselves, you know, can afford. You know, but what I do is if I writer's block, I just make notes so that I can finish my quota for that day, you know, without having to leave. Yeah.
All right.